Welcome back to Becoming More Me, the podcast for ambitious entrepreneurs and professionals looking to reclaim their energy, emotional freedom, and authenticity so they can create success on their terms. Today's guest is someone whose transformation has deeply inspired me. Marianne Jensen is a 38-year-old nurse, mama of two, little ones also, and a heart-led coach based in Denmark. When she entered the Becoming More You program late last year, she was in burnout, mentally, emotionally, physically depleted. On extended sick leave, she was feeling overstimulated by even just simple things and really disconnected from her intuition and her sense of self. And she knew she wanted something different, but she was in a state of freeze or flop, and she just wasn't sure how to get moving again, how to get there. Fast forward a few months, and it's like she's a completely different woman. And in this episode, she is going to share how she jumped out of the cycle of burnout and back into her body, into her joy, into her creative power. She's also going to share how this deep work that we've done and that she's continuing to do because the skills have been imparted to her have really benefited her with her partner and deepened her presence with her children. And we're also going to go into how she was able to let go of things that were holding her back and really embrace the courage to start her own community on school, to provide accountability for others, and soon to even begin coaching others. Her ability to embrace visibility has totally changed. In fact, that's part of the reason why she's on this podcast today, because you have to be able to get visible in order to do an interview like this. And her story is just, it's honest, it's heartfelt, and it's a beautiful reminder that healing is possible and that sustainable change comes when we give ourselves permission to lead with intuition, creativity, and trust. So if you've ever felt stuck in burnout or otherwise, afraid to be visible or unsure how to start again, this episode is for you, and you are going to be amazed at the different ways that progress has been showing up for Marianne in just the last few months alone. It all starts now. Hey, Marianne, welcome to the Becoming More Me podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Teresa. And yeah,
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. It's one of my favorite things to be able to have somebody on who I've had the honor of working with also, because it puts a totally different lens on what we can talk about and how we can convey that transformation. And we've done some really powerful work together. So I think it's going to be a really important conversation for others to hear today too. So let's start by just learning a little bit about you. Who you are, where you live, who you enjoy spending your time with, maybe some interesting facts or hobbies or things you enjoy.
Yeah. Well, I'm Marianne, as Teresa already said, and I'm a mother of two, and I'm living with son in Denmark. So I have two toddlers. The oldest one's 5, and the other one's 2. So yeah, life is busy, and I am also a registered nurse and have been since January 19. And I am, well, a very creative soul, I would say. Like, give me any craft and I can do it if I really find the interest in doing it. That's very important, yeah. And, well, anything, like, yeah, throw anything at me, I'll catch it and be very solution oriented and just help out as best as I can. And I enjoy spending time with my friends and family, and yeah, I'm a huge family person. So but I'm always saying that family is one thing, but the friends I have is the family that I've chosen for myself. And that's been very apparent in the transitions I've made with Teresa as well.
Yeah, for sure. So in getting into talking about that a little bit more, could you share a little bit about where you were mentally, emotionally, physically before we started the Becoming More You journey?
Yeah. I was in I would say, a very bad place, actually. I didn't think that anything could be done to help me out of that. like kind of a black hole, if you could describe it like that. But then I had a trial session with Teresa, with you,
Mm-hmm.
and well, let alone with the shifts happening in that session, like I could go out to eat and be present with my family and not be overwhelmed. And it was a Friday night, so yeah, that was crazy for me because I hadn't been able to do that in such a long time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
What had things been like for you before this? I know you had been
well, I've
working,
been,
you'd had a lot of burnout. What were you going through?
but yeah, struggling with this was this third burnout cycle that I was going through at the time, and still I'm at the end of that, what I would say. And I've been struggling with that for ever since December 2020. So it's been quite a long time. And for this recent burnout state, I was battling depression and many different types of anxiety. Like I had a lot of anxiety attacks, and yeah, I was just completely overwhelmed and overstimulated. Just the yeah, what do you call it? Well, there wasn't any reason for, like, it could just be my son walking in and saying this loud note inside the living room, and I was like, stop. And it was
Yeah.
crazy, and I didn't want to be that way because, well, for one, it wasn't beneficial to me, and definitely not for my children or my family at all. And I really couldn't recognize myself, so I was in a state where I couldn't recognize myself, and it was terrifying.
Mm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I remember you having a lot of like sadness and shame about the way that you were kind of reacting to things in your life. Like you said, it could just be like a loud noise. Kids are noisy, and you've got two young ones, and there was a lot of overstimulation from that happening that was like very off-putting for you. And how would you say that's changed in the last few months?
Well, it just within the past few weeks, really, after it's been a month since our program or sessions ended. And within the month of that, we've been just developing as a family, like evolving as a family, like in the best way possible. And well, just for this past weekend and or week, I would say it's been Easter all week in Denmark also. And well, having the kids home for a week and a half, I would have been so terrified of that
Mhm.
previously. But this time I was just taking it one step at a time, and well, whatever happens, happens. And we've just been very great at figuring out the ways to do these things at home, and really connecting with each other. And the kids, well, just for me being creative, just tapping into that creativeness. Like we did these origami figurines, and well, we started with an Easter theme. Let me tell you, like we started with a bunny and then a fox, and it quickly developed into dinosaurs and trees. And I need a volcano moment. Well, shh, Wyatt, I need to concentrate to get these done for you. But yeah, just tapping into the creativity for me has been a huge benefit towards, like, growing and being more present and
Absolutely.
really, yeah, just building on top of the foundation that we created for me. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, in the line of like the work that I do, I think that we find the most flow when we step into pleasure and embracing the things that we enjoy. And you obviously really enjoy creativity. And I'm guessing there wasn't a whole lot of it being expressed and enjoyed 6 months or a year ago.
No, like it was completely gone. Like I could have these ideas about, well, I could do this and I could do this, but I would never really get into it. Like really get my hands down into the craft and really creating something with it. So it
Yeah.
would only be up here, and that's not a great place to have it.
Right. It was really hard for you to kind of get started and get into
Yeah,
momentum and do those kind of things. And I think
definitely.
you were experiencing the same kind of thing with like physical activity in general.
Yeah.
How has that changed for you?
Well, I remember I wrote you one day, I put on my shoes and now I'm going for a walk. And well, I've been walking ever since, and it's great for my health. So,
Yeah. And
yeah,
you've also started your own walking group on School, the same platform
yeah,
where the Becoming More Me community is. You now have your own community there,
yeah,
and other people are being motivated and getting that accountability from walking together. Tell me
definitely,
how
yeah.
you were inspired to start that.
Well, I've been looking for some sort of life and work balance, and knowing that I have to do something else besides nursing. Like I'm not getting back into traditional nursing because it really burns me out. I really am quite, uh, what's it called? I have this pleaser role, this pleaser
Mhm.
gene inside me, and well, I don't need to tap into the perfectionism and like give into that. So I really have a need for something else. And I found out that walking is a great tool for me. And just by seeing the benefits I uh, receive from walking, I know that I can help a lot of other people. Like, and walking is a really underrated tool for getting rid of the weight and really just moving your body. And walking is just so accessible to us that we don't take it for anything. Like, we don't value it. But walking is, you can do it at your home. You can do it in your couch. If you're really immobile, you can do it from your couch. You don't have to get out. Everyone can do this, and it's really, yeah, it really does has these benefits of your mental health getting better and your creativity blossoming, and yeah, just creating those neural pathways in your brain, getting those back as well. And with walking 5 minutes, that's one thing. You get outside, and well, if you haven't been walking, then you're huffing and puffing after 5 minutes. But you can continue gradually increase your step count and the minutes you're walking. And well, walking inside a community like I have on School, when we get together on Zoom, then we can hold each other accountable,
Yeah.
and yeah, really just get some great, uh,
It's huge. Accountability
yeah,
is huge, both with personal
yeah,
development and with physical fitness. I know
yeah,
a lot of my early start in coaching was with physical fitness and nutrition, and it was the accountability that really helped people to create the habits that stick. So what you're providing is super valuable, and for anybody who's really looking to create that new habit, I know that you'll be an excellent person to hold space for them and cheer them on. And
yeah.
I know that when we started working together, and this is part of the reason why I allow my clients to come on my podcast, is visibility was a big edge for you. It was something where you were not really wanting to be seen in the fullness and wholeness of who you are and all of your amazing, talents and attributes and things that you can help people with and hold space for. So how has that changed for you, or what has helped you to move through that and to even just kind of show up here today to talk vulnerably about all of these things and be seen and heard?
Well, like Teresa, it was a big hurdle for me to. It wasn't quite easy to get through that point, but just tapping on it and actually just being aware of it and saying it out loud was a huge factor for me. Of Yeah, verbalizing it was really important,
Yeah.
because when I verbalize things, they aren't as scary anymore. And I am starting to be more present and visible online and breaking through the barriers. Like, I've
Yeah.
been doing that my whole life. So this is just another
A
barrier
new
that I'm
level.
working through. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I just know
So,
it was something that you had been like really kind of scared about almost and not stepping into. And then this morning when we were messaging about the show, it's like, I'm excited. Like there it went from, not wanting to be seen to being actually like excited for an opportunity to share and be
yeah.
heard. So that's really, really cool. So what do you hope people will experience when they step into your community and the work that you're doing?
But I hope they will see some of what the others have been doing as well. Like, I have a member who's been walking for 52 days straight
That's
as
awesome.
of yesterday, and he's been walking consistently and getting his number of steps increased each week, or every other week. And yeah, gradually doing that, but without straining anything. So just taking it and listening to his body as well. And another one has been saying, well, I can put in the amount for the walking group, and it's not, let me tell you, it's not that much. It's like $5. So it's
Yeah, very
it's a
inexpensive.
coffee. Like it's really just a coffee, but it's for a month. So he's just, I can put in these $5. I'll do that for a month, and then say I'm never leaving because this has just been so beneficial just for me and my wife. And I'm like, yeah, I'm really happy about that because not I'm not only holding myself accountable for walking, but I'm also helping others. But it's not me doing the work for them. I do the daily check-ins with them. I do the Zoom walks, and just hearing what they gain from that is so I'm so grateful for it. It's very
I
near
see
and dear to
why.
my heart.
Yeah,
So
and it should be. I think as coaches, as people who help and hold space for other people, the things that we're best at doing that around are the things that we've needed the most help with on our own journey. And it's like um, this ripple effect and this trade between the people who hire us to help them and our own selves, like healing through that process. So I think that's beautiful because that's something where, even when we were starting to work, you were kind of wanting more accountability for following through on your own physical fitness and things like that. And now you not only are more consistent with that yourself, but you're giving that accountability to other people. So I think that's beautiful. It's like couldn't be any better.
yeah.
Yeah. So you've done a lot of work around emotional safety and around communication and it being safe to, voice your feelings and things like that. How has this work rippled into your partnership with Soren and your like family dynamic?
But I would say actually yesterday I was doing a tapping round. I was tapping for an hour and a half yesterday.
Oh,
So
wow.
on and a lot of different things. And one of the things is that with these burnout cycles, you can't get, like your partner is going to be affected by this. And my partner Soren, he's definitely been affected by my burnout cycles and the getting through the rough edges, like everything like that. And yeah, being in this bad place for me and really getting through that, it takes a toll on everyone around you. And for me, my kids and my partner and my family, like they've all been affected in some way. And just yesterday I was thinking about, wow, how do you do this when you haven't, like, I would say, disagreement, and some of these old feelings from the partner comes up because there's been so much stuff, like, and I bet you all know this, with past yeah, things happening, they get brought up in these conversations. And it's like it has nothing to do with the topic you're talking about, but it's these underlying feelings that's being brought up in the other
Right.
person. And I was being reactive, and I was being like, I was getting defensive, and I was like, what? I don't want to be defensive right now. I actually want to listen to his feelings and what he's actually bringing up. And I wasn't able to do that until I was tapping on it yesterday because I found myself being resentful, and I didn't want to be that way because of the thing he were bringing up in the conversation. So it said, take a pause and get back to it. And just by doing the tapping, I went from an 8 down to a 3.
That's huge.
That's a huge moving of feelings as well, and just a shift in energies. And last night, after I had done the tapping, I was like, we need to take a pause on this and get back to it. And I was able to do that within 5 minutes. The pause was over, and we can get back to it
Yeah.
just by doing the work
You
and
can
actually
move through
putting in the
things.
effort.
Can move through things so much faster.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that is sometimes the hardest to convey to people when they're trying to understand the benefit or what's really going to change. And it's like, yeah, we're still going to have challenges. You're still going to find yourself face to face with these things that are not necessarily the most pleasant, but you will
Definitely
find
not.
yourself
Yeah.
moving through them with more ease, more calm, more compassion, and more speed than if you weren't like honoring those feelings. So that's amazing that, and this is the whole point really with my program is that like even though you completed it like you said about a month ago, you now know how to do this to keep getting the changes. It's never been my goal to create like life clients that need to be with me for the rest of their lives in order to, create the changes. It's like now you understand how to create your rounds of EFT, what those pesky little underliers are so that you can go after them, how to implement and use your hypnosis audios and things like that so you can keep creating that change. And obviously you are, which is like so very perfect. So how would you say how has EFT been a benefit to you? Like, what have you enjoyed about that modality?
Well, it's actually I've become aware of this after like about a year ago. I found a lot of what do you call it? Calmness being inside this lying is in this hammock, and by doing the tapping on these points, it's the same points that I've been doing the deep pressure techniques on with this hammock, and
Okay.
tapping is just amazing for this as well. So not that's like tapping is one thing, and we've been doing amazing changes with that, but also getting the benefits from the pressures. And one of the tappings I did yesterday, she told me just to put and keep my fingers on and not be doing the time, just do the pressure. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Mhm.
I was like, I could go to sleep like this. And
Yeah, there are a lot of
yeah,
different ways that you can apply those points and use them
yeah,
differently. So that's
yeah.
awesome that you're exploring that, as every one of
So,
those different points correlates with different organs and different systems in the body, and also different energetic blockages that want to be released. So yeah, whether you're
mhm,
holding it or tapping it, or I know we've talked before about how you can literally just imagine those different places being touched or tapped, you can
mm,
still experience different releases. So,
yeah.
yeah, so you got a lot of benefit out of that and you still are. What about hypnotherapy? How did you feel about hypnotherapy and the ways that it benefited you? Have you joined the Becoming More Me community over on School yet? It is one of the fastest growing distraction free platforms for learning and connection. And it's where the magic's happening for the Becoming More Me community as well. Inside, you will find a high vibe circle of heart centered, ambitious entrepreneurs and professionals doing deep work to become who they truly feel called to be in life, in business, in love, health, and wealth, and doing it in ways that feel aligned, authentic, and full of pleasure. The community is packed with tons of valuable resources too that you can start using right away, as well as guidance to find the ones that are going to help you so that you don't need to waste time. We're talking tools, training, and practices to support your growth, all for free. Plus, you can find info on working with me more deeply, whether it's through one-on-one coaching, small group experiences, or the Becoming More Me with EFT program, as well as information on upcoming workshops and other events. To join, head over to school.com/discovery. That's SKOOL.com/discovery. Type in my name, Teresa Lear Levine, and you will find the Becoming More Me community right there. Click on it to join. I can't wait to welcome you to the community.
For the first hypnotherapy session we did was actually before Christmas. And I was just checking the date, it's like 4 months ago now. And one of the things we tackled with that hypno session was my excessive overeating habit. Or not, I would not say habit, but it was like some people have substance abuses, and I suffer from ADHD. Like that's in my DNA. So some have substance abuses. I was just using food. And ever since like 4 months ago, from that, I stopped overeating. So that was amazing. Just the changes alone in that hour we did that hypnosis. It was amazing. I really can't describe it, but I feel it every day, and I just felt it today when I was grocery shopping. Actually, it's in the middle of the afternoon in Denmark, so there's a time difference. So and just going in and, oh, I don't want the chocolate. I want this cauliflower or broccoli, and I just went for all these fresh vegetables, and I'm going to be cutting them up, and I've started meal prepping each week, food prepping, so everything gets easier. Actually, I haven't gotten him to do anything. He's doing this completely on his own. But because I'm food prepping every vegetable we have for a week, he's just eating raw cabbage out of the container. Like we can just put it on the table at night, and he's just sitting there eating, and the goes burp. Yeah, and mom, it smells, well, no wonder you're eating raw cabbage, but he's really enjoying it. And I really love that I can get
It's
some of
actually really
those.
good.
Yeah.
My
And I
mom
really
is
get,
bringing back a memory for me because my mom used to prep cabbage to cook, and then I would take like half the head of cabbage and I would like put the leaves in a bowl of ice water, and I would just eat the cabbage out of the bowl. Like I liked it really cold and like crisp, and
yeah,
I remember eating it too as a kid and thinking like I don't know, I loved the taste of it, and it
it's
was
just like
healthy.
now if I haven't prepared it, like I didn't prepare anything last week because of Easter and everything. He's just been chopping it himself and putting it in a bowl and putting it on the table. He's so sweet doing that. But I really love the point of getting my kids to eat these raw vegetables as well, because that's really great for their, yeah, just everything for them. And getting the no additives, nothing, like the
Yeah.
raw food, and not putting anything unnecessary in their bodies from the get-go. I really like they're getting these habits now. So that's
Yes.
something that's changed as well for my family.
So you were able to create a new habit for yourself based on the hypnotherapy session that we did. And I
Yeah,
think the walking also got more consistent based on a hypnotherapy session, didn't it?
it did.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, because I
Really.
believe we did a whole session on like self-care and exercise. And
Yeah.
and then I believe at one of our close to end sessions, you were even like reporting some pretty significant weight loss happening.
Yeah. If I'm just doing the math, it's uh it's 11 kilos now, and then times 2.5, so that's 26 kilos or something like that now.
Say kilos to
Or
pounds.
pounds, would that be 26 pounds?
I'll do the conversion on on I'll Google it.
I think it's
Let's
two and a
see.
half or something like that. 2.6 or
11, yeah, it's like close to 25 pounds.
yeah.
That's a lot,
And that's within these past 2 months alone.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing. Little
Yeah.
changes in the subconscious. And
Yeah.
I'm sure with all the tapping that you've been doing also, your cortisol spikes are not happening as frequently. And when we definitely hold on to fat really easily when we're in a lot of those cortisol spikes.
Definitely. Yeah.
We can release it so much easier when our nervous system gets to relax. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. I mean, those are really great results. What have
Yeah. I
you
believe
found?
I was at 11 pounds when we were ending our sessions. So yeah, it's amazing. And it's not like I've done anything else than walking, and actually just I haven't counted calories or anything like that because I don't believe in doing that. I believe in eating until you're not as full as just completely full, but just eating when you're hungry and listening to the body and the cues that's just
Sure.
giving you. Because I haven't been doing that for a lot of years, and so I really am proud of myself for being able to do that now.
Yeah, absolutely. Intuitive eating is my favorite way to eat too. It, it's not much fun to have to track every last macro or
No,
whatever it is that you're eating. It kind of takes
no.
all the fun out of actually enjoying the food and letting it nourish and nurture your body. So that's awesome. Let's see. What
Mhm.
other things have we not talked about yet? What about beliefs? Have you shed any beliefs that you feel like weren't helpful for you, and in their place, what has replaced them?
Yeah, I was thinking we've been working through the abundance shifts,
Hmm.
so from the scarcity to the abundance mindset, and I believe that's been a huge, made a huge impact for me as well. Because just this weekend, actually, I was thinking about, well, we get this child support thing in Denmark every 3 months, and we got that last week. And usually that would have been burning a hole in my pocket, but it didn't. Like, it's still in my account. I'm like, well, everything is just fine. I can go out and buy the shoes and everything for my kids. I don't have to rush in doing this. I can really take my time and plan for what they need, as well as taking care of the finance side of things. And yeah, so that's a huge factor for me as well. But also the I'm not good enough mindsets, and that's coming from stemming from the perfectionism and, well, the people pleasing and, yeah, childhood trauma. And, well,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things we've been working on. And just looking back at our sessions, well, we've been working through a lot of those issues that I've been dealing with within one session. So we've been tackling a lot of that at once. And, well, the transformation is happening gradually, and it's just continuing to happen. Yeah.
Right. So to put this in perspective for anybody who's listening who's not familiar with my program, all of this transformation happened in half a dozen sessions of an hour apiece, so 6 hours. So that it really does put it in perspective, because I think a lot of people think that big transformation like this, the mindset shifts, the abundance shifts, the shifts in your physical weight, the parenting shifts, the shifts in your partnership and your own accountability, both in relationships and with the physical exercise and everything else, that this is a massive undertaking, and that it takes hours and hours and hours and so much time and everything else. But like, I didn't even know Marianne until last November. And, you know, now it feels like I've known you forever. We go deep, and we go deep quickly, but, you know, we talked for a good bit of time before, you know, we joined and, you know, really made sure that this was a good fit for you. What for you was the thing that made you say yes to doing this?
Honestly, it was just a session with being able to go out to eat with both of my kids at a full restaurant, and ordering something that they had never tried before. We were going for sushi, and my partner, he doesn't like sushi, so he has to have something chicken-like or something salad, you know. And there were robots delivering these plates and everything. So it was a great experience for the kids, but just being able to be present and not being overwhelmed getting through that and getting back home and actually being able to put the kids down to bed and everything, and just having an enjoyable evening. That's been so long prior to that since we've had that. And, well, it was such an amazing experience, let alone that. And I was like, okay, if Teresa can do this in 45 minutes, because we were talking for 45 minutes, no longer than that, and we were doing just one round of tapping on this.
Right. It was probably like 10 minutes worth of work.
And definitely, yeah. And if we could do that within that session, imagine what Teresa can do for me with the program for 12 weeks. Like, yeah. Six one-on-one sessions and 6 group sessions. But yeah, I was so amazed. It's a no-brainer for me. I just needed to join. So
I'm so glad you did. I always learn so much from going through these things with my clients too. And especially, just I'm thrilled to hear about the way that you're showing up different in the relationships with your kids, with Soren, and I'm sure it probably affects friendships and even the way you're able to serve people in your school community too. You know, burnout is a big deal, and far too many people are experiencing it these days. And it makes sense based on the way that we prioritize or really don't prioritize things in our lives. And hey, I'm just popping in to remind you real quick, you don't have to keep navigating the overwhelm, self-sabotage, or emotional chaos alone. If you've been feeling stuck, whether it's in your business, your relationships, or with your own health, there is a next aligned step. And I would love to help you ditch the overwhelm and find it. You can book a totally free, no pressure insight call with me. This is a quick 15-minute one-on-one call where we will zero in on what's really been keeping you stuck and I will share simple but powerful insights that can help you move forward with way more confidence, ease, and alignment. All you need to do is head to gamechangingconversation.com and grab your spot. I truly can't wait to connect with you and support you in your next chapter of becoming. Now let's get back to the episode. The cost of living and so many other things that just push us over the edge before we even realize it. What were some of the things that you noticed first that told you that you were experiencing burnout?
Well, it didn't really know that it was burnout. Like, my doctor put me on sick leave back in December 2020, and I was on sick leave for, well, 10 months, I think. And well, I just thought, well, it's just stress. I'll be back to work in 3 weeks because I've done that in nursing school. And yeah, I had a stress collapse in nursing school. Let me tell you, that wasn't fun. Like, my whole body just gave in. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was like, I couldn't move anything like that. And I didn't feel it being like that. So I couldn't recognize it, but I was just so afraid of the like mind. I couldn't remember anything. I was standing in the office in a psychiatric ward as a nurse, and like, well, I don't know what to do now. Yeah. Well, that workplace environment can do that for you as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just realizing that it was burnout, it took quite a while for me to realize that I
And it
was
seems like
through
for
different
you, from
programs.
what I know from working with you and just what you've shared here today, also, it was kind of like your nervous system went into like freeze or even flop, and you just kind of
Definitely.
stopped functioning. And
Yeah.
that was still really prominent for you even last fall when we talked, down to just the like simple taking care of yourself sort of things were exhausting. So
Yeah.
with those being kind of some of the markers of how you knew that burnout was happening, how did you start to know or feel that you were on your way coming out of it?
I started recognizing myself again. Like, being in a state of burnout, it feels like you don't know who you are. Like, you can't do anything function like you did before, and your partner is missing who you were and
Mhm.
looking forward to when you get back to that. And yeah, there's just so many different things adding up inside of a burnout session, or yeah, state of mind. Is really not something I would recommend anyone. I would recommend them going the other way and working on these things. And well, I can just see the shifts, like me starting to be creative, starting to remembering, looking at my calendar and not having to write everything down in it anymore. It's a huge relief. And just being present with my kids. And the other day I was reading a book with my son, actually, and for the longest time I've been yawning every time I start reading the first page of a book, like, I really don't want to do it. Like, I really get sleepy and tired, but I could read two full books with him without yawning even once.
You were just
That
there.
was a huge like
That
shift for
is.
me.
I think I'm always just amazed by your awareness of picking up on these things. I think some people don't even notice when things are getting better, or unfortunately, when things are getting worse. And I don't think anybody ends up getting burnout because they intended to. It's just little
Definitely not.
things kind of add on top. And then for most people, and I know this is the case with you too, that's compounded by all of that past conditioning, all of the childhood trauma, all of the things that haven't yet been dealt with. And then it's this culmination. So we unraveled kind of all of that, from the ways it was happening presently for you and the things in the past that were influencing the the ways that it was showing up presently. And I think that's
Yeah.
probably why there was such a great impact for you, don't you think?
Yeah, I definitely believe that for one, but also just being aware of the shifts, the changes that are happening. That way, when you're aware of those changes, you can be aware of when they start to go the other way again. Because once you've been in a burnout cycle, and with me having been in 3 burnout cycles, I really need to be aware of when things can shift, because they can shift like this.
Yeah.
Like there's really not far from where I am now. Like, yes, there is, but if I get stressed out day after day after day, well, there's really not that long to getting back into the burnout. And I really
Right.
don't want that. So I need to be aware of the changes. And if I start snapping at Soren or yelling at the kids and saying, whoa, okay, that's not what what I was intending to do. So I need to pause and take a step back and do some tapping and getting the cortisol levels down again.
Right. Yeah, I think having an elevated sense of consciousness around things is one of the greatest gifts we get by doing the work. So
Definitely.
now that you're in this place where you are now, what's your vision for life and family and work? And what are you calling in for your health and your creative expression and your future?
But I'm really just excited to see what's coming in that sense, but also just looking into creating life and work balance. And I know that's kind of a word now, but that's really what I need. I need to have uh, that space of being able to take the breaks, the brain breaks that I need. And the brain
Yes.
breaks can be just like tapping or something like that, or just going outside and just taking a deep breath and looking into the yard or something like that. Just having, yeah, and being able to do that while working from home. And that's the huge shift that's going to be happening now. Like, and I am already starting that. I know wrote that to you, but
Yeah.
I'm looking into starting my own coaching business and actually just having this holistic view on my coaching clients. Like, getting them through burnout is one thing, and doing it through the tools of being creative. And it doesn't matter what creativity side craft they want to do, I can help them do that. But
Yeah.
that's beneficial for the brain and getting those brain neurons back in place, or creating new neural pathways, as well as doing the walking and getting the mind cleared
Hmm.
so that they're able to think more clearly. Because when you're in a state of burnout or pre-stage to burnout, you're not able to think clearly. And you need to take some space to do that, and going on a walk with nothing but just the fresh air and your legs, your feet taking one step at a time. That's really a great way to do it. And it doesn't have to be for more than 10 minutes. Like,
No.
put on your shoes and just get out and do it in a place where you know you love to walk.
Yes. I've
Yeah,
always found that if you tell yourself, hey, I'm going to give it 10 minutes, usually you get out there and you're having a good time and it goes longer just naturally.
exactly. Yeah.
You have to
So
trick yourself
sometimes
sometimes.
you need to trick the mind, because the mind can really play tricks on you as well.
Yes, exactly. It's better for you to trick it than for it to trick you for the rest of your life, the way it does for so many people.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So, what would you tell yourself a year ago? Like if you could go back and give advice to that version of you that existed a year ago, or even somebody else who's listening who might be stuck in burnout or unsure where to begin, what would you tell them?
But to answer that question, I think I would describe just how I was a year ago. I was working as a new nurse in a nursing home for people with dementia, and just constantly trying to up overwork and overdeliver, because I was afraid I wasn't good enough at my job. And I am an amazing nurse. I'm just not cut out for the traditional sense of it. So, and that's a realization I had to come to.
Mhm.
But for telling myself or another one in my position a year ago, I would say take a breather, go outside, and if you need to take some time off, do that. Just figure out what's in your core and what you actually want, and what your beliefs are. And if you feel that there's something off, like if your intuition is really telling you this is not you, listen to your intuition, because like 99% or 100% of the time, it's actually correct. And I wasn't listening to my intuition at all. Like, I was just powering through and yeah, I was just irritable, and I kept going in this downward spiral, and it really wasn't healthy at all.
Yeah. You did a lot of good
Yeah,
work reconnecting to your sense of self-trust and your intuition.
definitely. Yeah.
And you don't even, your energy is just totally different. Your aura, everything is different than it was just a few months ago. So it's been
Yeah.
really quite an honor to get to witness and be part of this transformation that you've gone through, and really appreciate you coming on and sharing it with everybody here today as well.
Yeah.
Is there a good place for people to find you if they want to learn more about your walking group on school or connect with you further?
Well, if they would like to have a look at the walking community, I would offer them a 7-day free trial just to get
Awesome.
in and get a feel of the community. It's a fairly new community, so we're just starting out. But yeah, we've been at this, like I said, for 52 days once been walking, so we are getting there. But you can get a 7-day trial, and you can join us at school.com/walking.
Yep. And
So
for anybody that's
there's
not
that.
familiar with school, it's skool.com
Exactly, yeah.
/walking. I'll make sure that we put that link in the show notes
Yeah.
as well.
And if you want to be able to use this 7-day trial, I need you to write me either on school, and you can find me within the walking community. I am the owner, so I will be linked. Just
Yep. Click on her
there.
name and then send her a message. Tell her you want
Yeah,
to take advantage of the free trial and she'll hook you up.
yeah. Or you can click in the show notes, and Teresa will have my Instagram for you to DM me right there.
Perfect. Awesome. For everybody who's listening, I know you have so many choices when it comes to the podcast that you listen to, but I also know that becoming more of the person that you want to be in this world matters to you. And I appreciate you listening to this episode of Becoming More Me. And thank you so much for being here with me today, Marianne. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you too. Thank you so much, Teresa.
My pleasure. Thanks for spending some of your precious time with me today. If you loved this episode, please leave a review or simply share it with someone else who would get great benefit from it too. If you share on social media, please tag me so I can personally connect and thank you. Until next time, keep taking bold and brave steps towards becoming more of who you want to be in this world. You are capable, you are worthy, and you are enough. And if your inner critic is still trying to argue with those facts, hit me up. We've got work to do.